Here we have a figure where we're looking at the graph of a function g. So you guys can see the graph up here, and they drew a tangent line at the point -1. So you guys can see that tangent line right there. And it says that h is represented by this function here. So h of x equals 2x plus 1 times g of x. It says, what is the value of h prime of -1? So we're trying to find the derivative of this function. And then after we find the derivative, we'll plug in -1. So if you notice, we have the product rule. We have a function of x times a function of x. So if I set up the product rule, I have u equals 2x plus 1, and v equals g of x. So if I find the derivative of u, I get 2, and if I find the derivative of v, I get g prime of x. And again, I'm actually just going to plug in the numbers now. So I'm going to plug in -1 now so that it actually saves us some time in the end, and we can just multiply numbers. So if I plug in -1 here, I get 2 times -1, which is -2, plus 1 would be -1. And then over here I just have 2, so it'll stay 2. G of -1, if I look at my graph up here, since this is the graph of g, if I look at g of -1, it equals 3. So g of -1 is 3, because I just look at what the function equals at that point. So that would be 3. And then last but not least, g prime of -1. Remember, this is the slope of g at -1, the derivative, or in other words, the slope of the tangent line at -1. So to figure out the slope of this line, we notice that we have 2 points on it. We have -1, 3, and we have 0, -3. So if we want to figure out the slope, we can just count rise over run. So if you look at rise, we actually go down 6. So let me kind of draw that on the graph up here. We go down 6. When we go over 1. So that's down 6 over 1. So my slope is -6 over 1. So g prime of -1 would be -6, because that's the slope of this tangent line. So from here, we're just going to multiply forwards, and then we'll multiply backwards. So multiplying that way gives me 6. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus, because the product rule is plus, multiplying forwards would give me -1 times -6. So -1 times -6 is +6, so 6 plus 6 equals 12. And that is answer choice, oh, it's down at the bottom somewhere. Let me see. 12 is answer choice D, I guess you could say. So this is the answer to that problem.